We've all experienced moments that left us feeling confused, forgetting a name, an important conversation, or even where we put our keys. These incidents are sometimes just due to carelessness, but when they happen more often, have you ever wondered if they could be a sign of something more serious? Could these little forgetful moments point to something we haven't noticed? Memory loss is not a rare phenomenon, but it often comes very quietly. At first, it may just be small, mild signs, but when not recognized early, it can severely impact the quality of life. So how can we identify these signs early? And why is it so important to recognize them in time? In this video, we'll explore the 10 early signs of memory loss that you need to pay attention to. Detecting these signs early can help you manage your health better, thus protecting your mind and the quality of life for the long term. Don't let small signs turn into big problems in the future. Let's learn how to protect our minds and our loved ones. Sign 1. Frequent memory decline. One of the first signs we can easily notice is memory decline. Everyone has moments where they forget a name, a small detail, or even a recent event. However, if this happens too often and starts affecting your daily activities, it's time to pay closer attention. When memory declines, it's not just about forgetting insignificant things, but about forgetting things that you could once easily recall. For example, you might forget a conversation you had just yesterday, or fail to remember important details of a task you previously completed. You might find yourself putting something down and not being able to remember where you left it, even though you've done this 1,000 times before. This isn't always easy to notice right away, because we all have moments of slower thinking or absent-mindedness. However, if this situation persists and becomes more frequent, it could be the first sign of memory loss. So why is this important? Because memory decline can be a warning sign of more serious issues, such as Alzheimer's disease or other forms of dementia. If we recognize this sign early on, timely diagnosis and intervention can help slow the progression of the condition and improve the quality of life for the patient. Sign 2. Difficulty finding words. Another sign you may easily notice is difficulty finding words. This happens when you're having a conversation with someone and suddenly can't find the word you need to say, even though you clearly know its meaning. Or perhaps you're trying to explain something but can't express your thoughts correctly simply because you can't recall the right words. Such situations can make you feel confused, or even self-conscious during communication. You may notice that you're using the wrong words or saying a word that you know doesn't fit the context. This can make conversations challenging, and you might feel like you're losing control over how to convey your thoughts. This is one of the early signs of memory loss, especially when it occurs frequently. You may forget the names of familiar objects or even struggle to remember a word you would normally use to describe something simple. Difficulty finding words can affect your communication, making you feel less confident, and it might even cause stress for those around you. It's important to note that difficulty finding words isn't just a simple language issue. It reflects a decline in your ability to process information and maintain the flow of thoughts. This is a clear sign that your brain is having trouble processing and recalling information, which is often associated with memory loss. However, if you notice this happening frequently, don't panic. This is just an early sign, and recognizing it early can help you take timely action. A doctor can help you determine whether this is part of normal aging or a sign of something more serious. The most important thing is not to overlook even the slightest changes in your communication abilities. Sign 3. Difficulty solving problems. A noticeable sign of memory loss is difficulty solving simple problems that you used to handle easily before. You might find yourself taking more time to complete daily tasks that once seemed straightforward, such as planning your day, balancing your books, or cooking a familiar recipe. You may have been very good at calculations, planning, or even solving complex problems. However, now you're finding it harder to complete those tasks. A noticeable example could be struggling to keep track of a bill, or taking a long time just to recall the steps of a simple recipe. Tasks that require focus and problem-solving skills have become more difficult, leaving you feeling tired and stressed. This change may be a sign of a decline in cognitive abilities and memory. When the brain can no longer process information as quickly and efficiently as before, performing everyday tasks becomes more challenging, and a lack of confidence in your thinking ability may start to become more evident. What's concerning is that when this condition persists, it can affect your quality of life. The loss of the ability to solve simple problems can reduce your independence and self-sufficiency, making you more reliant on others to complete basic tasks. However, if you notice yourself struggling with tasks you used to easily handle, don't ignore it. This is a sign that requires attention and timely evaluation. Early recognition allows you to discuss the issue with a doctor to understand the cause and take appropriate measures to intervene, minimizing the negative impact on your life. Sign 4. Repeatedly asking the same question. A fairly easy to identify sign of memory loss is constantly repeating a question or story that you've asked or shared before, without realizing that you've done so. You might find yourself asking family members, friends, or colleagues the same questions over a short period of time, even though they've already answered. Or you might retell a story you've already shared, without remembering that you've said it before. This can make you feel confused and frustrated, as you don't understand why you keep asking the same question. Meanwhile, those around you may feel tired or impatient from having to answer the same questions repeatedly. However, this is one of the early signs of memory loss, especially when it happens frequently. When the brain struggles to store and remember new information, we forget what we've heard or learned in previous conversations. This is when you might not realize you've asked a question before or shared a story. This situation can be particularly difficult for family members, as they have to patiently answer the same questions over and over. Gradually, you may notice that your relationships with those around you are affected, as they may find it challenging to communicate or feel worried about the changes in your behavior. If you notice yourself starting to experience this, don't hesitate to share it with your loved ones and consult a doctor. While this may just be an early sign, early recognition will help you and your loved ones find the cause and appropriate solutions to cope with this issue. Sign 5. Difficulty adapting to change. Another sign of memory loss is difficulty adapting to changes, whether it's a small shift in routine or in the surrounding environment. Changes that may seem very normal to others can make you feel confused, stressed, or even anxious. For example, you might feel upset when your daily schedule changes or when you have to adjust to new routines. You may start to feel stressed when faced with unexpected events, such as an impromptu meeting or moving to a new place. Things that you used to handle easily now become a challenge. You may feel disoriented, unsure of what to do next, or lack the confidence to face new situations. This can greatly affect your daily life. You may feel sad or out of control, as changes in your routine or environment are no longer as easy to accept as they once were. Inability to adapt to change can have a significant impact on your independence and autonomy in life. This is an important sign that needs attention. When the brain can't process and adjust to changes, it could indicate a decline in your cognitive and memory functions. The inability to adapt to change is a sign that your brain's ability to process information is struggling. To cope with this issue, it is crucial to identify it early and not let it persist without intervention. If you or a loved one are showing signs of difficulty adapting to change, consult a doctor to better understand the cause and find appropriate solutions. Sign 6. Confusion about time and place. Another sign to watch for is confusion about time and place. You may begin to forget the date, the season, or even where you are. For example, you might not remember what day it is, or feel disoriented when you realize you've traveled a long distance without remembering how you got there. These feelings can make you feel disconnected from the world around you. Confusion about time can be an early sign of cognitive decline, when the brain no longer processes information about time and space as accurately as before. You may get lost in a conversation, not remembering what you said or did earlier. A sense that a day is passing more quickly or slowly than usual could also indicate that your brain is struggling to remember events in their proper time order. Additionally, if you frequently forget where you are or don't recall how you arrived at a certain place, this could affect your ability to move around and perform everyday tasks. For instance, you might forget how to get home or not remember the route to places you are familiar with. These are clear signs that your cognitive abilities are no longer the same. When you begin to experience this confusion, don't dismiss it as normal. If this persists, early diagnosis and seeking help from a doctor will be crucial. Sometimes, these issues can be signs of memory loss or other health problems related to the brain. Timely intervention can help slow the decline and maintain your independence in the long term. Sign 7. Reduced ability to focus. Another common sign of memory loss is a decreased ability to concentrate. You may find yourself more easily distracted or have difficulty following a conversation, working according to instructions, or engaging in activities that require high attention. Maintaining focus on a task for an extended period can become challenging, causing you to waste time and energy on things that aren't important. If you used to complete tasks quickly, you might now find yourself spending a lot of time just completing simple tasks. A book you're reading may suddenly become difficult to engage with, and conversations you participate in may become disorganized because you can't remember what was said earlier. A decline in concentration not only affects work or study but also weakens your ability to process information in everyday life. You might find yourself easily forgetting what you were doing or needing to repeat tasks because you can't maintain attention long enough to complete them. This is an important sign to watch for. A decline in concentration could be a sign of brain function deterioration, and if this condition persists, it may be linked to memory loss or other brain-related health issues. The concerning part is that if this is not identified and addressed early, it can significantly impact your quality of life, from work to personal relationships. However, if you're experiencing this issue, don't panic. The key is recognizing this sign and seeking timely support from a doctor. Evaluating your mental and cognitive health will help determine the cause and offer solutions to help you maintain focus and improve your quality of life. Sign 8. Loss of interest in hobbies or activities. A notable sign of memory loss is a change in interests and habits, especially when you lose interest in activities or hobbies that you once enjoyed. You might notice that you no longer feel excited about personal hobbies like reading, walking, watching movies, or attending social events as you did before. Things that once brought you joy may suddenly feel boring and no longer appealing. You might have once loved playing chess, painting, or participating in outdoor activities. But now, you might not feel like doing these things anymore, or you may feel like they have become a burden. Hobbies are no longer an important part of your life, and this feeling might make you feel disconnected from things that once brought you happiness. Losing interest in activities you once enjoyed can be a sign of cognitive decline, when the brain no longer retains the same enthusiasm and joy as before. This can happen gradually, and you may not realize it until you begin to neglect things that used to make you feel alive. This feeling of indifference not only affects you but also reduces your connection with family and friends, as you may no longer participate in gatherings or events as you once did. This condition can also impact your mental health because when you stop engaging in things you once loved, you may feel lonely and lost. It can also lower your motivation in daily life and affect your ability to maintain relationships with loved ones. If you notice that you no longer enjoy the hobbies and activities you once loved, don't ignore this sign. Share it with your family and doctor. Early identification can help you and your loved ones find the right support to maintain an active and healthy life while also reducing cognitive decline if present. Sign 9. Changes in mood or personality. A significant sign of memory loss is a noticeable change in mood and personality. You may find yourself becoming more irritable, anxious, or even sad and depressed without any clear reason. These emotions can arise suddenly and may feel difficult to control, especially when you didn't experience them before. For example, if you were once a cheerful, optimistic person, you might now become easily angered or irrationally upset. Or if you were patient and approachable, you might now feel anxious, suspicious, or unable to communicate with others normally. These changes in personality can strain your relationships with family, friends, and colleagues, as they may not understand the reason for your change. Mood and personality changes like these can be due to cognitive decline, when the brain can no longer regulate emotions effectively. The inability to control emotions may make you feel lost and struggle with communication, as you can no longer express your feelings as you once could. In particular, People with memory loss may sometimes become suspicious or worried about the changes in themselves. They may feel out of control or confused because they don't recognize the shifts in their personality and behavior. This can lead to conflicts and stress in family relationships, increasing feelings of loneliness and anxiety. If you notice significant changes in mood or personality in yourself or a loved one without clear cause, it is time to pay attention. This could be a sign of memory loss or another mental health issue. It is important not to ignore these changes. Instead, seek support from a doctor or mental health professional to determine the cause and find effective solutions. Sign 10. Trouble with visual and spatial perception. The final sign on this list is trouble with visual and spatial perception. This isn't just about blurred vision or the feeling that you're not seeing things clearly, it's a change in how the brain processes and understands images and the space around you. One clear example is when you have difficulty recognizing the faces of familiar people, even though you've met them many times before. You may start to feel confused when looking at familiar objects in your home and cannot remember their function or purpose. Sometimes, you may struggle to judge distances, making activities like driving hazardous. Additionally, you might have trouble reading maps, or you may be unable to distinguish between objects of different sizes or unusual shapes. These changes occur because the brain can no longer process information about space and vision accurately. This can make daily activities more difficult and less safe. For instance, when walking through your neighborhood, you may not recognize streets or paths you frequently use. When looking at a clock, you might not be able to read the time or know where you are in a day. Such issues can cause anxiety and a sense of losing control, especially when they happen suddenly. Problems with visual and spatial perception can make activities like driving dangerous, as you may not be able to judge distances between vehicles or recognize traffic signals. If you have difficulty assessing space or identifying objects in your surroundings, this could be a sign of cognitive decline, one of the common symptoms of memory loss. When facing these challenges, do not ignore them. Seek advice from a doctor or healthcare professional immediately. Early identification of this issue will help you or your loved one maintain safety in daily activities and find appropriate treatment methods to support independent living. As you can see, the early signs of memory loss can be quite varied and sometimes not immediately noticeable. Small changes in memory, emotions, concentration, or spatial perception could all be warning signs that we should not ignore. However, the most important thing is not to panic if you notice these signs in yourself or a loved one. Instead of worrying, proactively seek help from a doctor or healthcare professionals. Early diagnosis will help you better understand your current condition and find appropriate treatment methods or interventions to slow down cognitive decline, or even improve the quality of life for the affected individual. Don't let confusion or fear dictate your decisions. Identifying the issue at an early stage can help you maintain independence, control over your life, and reduce negative impacts in the future. Additionally, a healthy lifestyle plays a crucial role in protecting brain health. Maintaining a balanced diet, regular exercise, adequate sleep, and controlling underlying health conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes can help reduce the risk of developing memory loss. Protecting the brain is not just about treating the disease when it occurs, but also about a long-term journey of mental health care. If you or a loved one is experiencing any of the signs mentioned, don't hesitate. Talk to a doctor to take the first steps in healthcare and protect cognitive function. We may not be able to stop aging, but we can absolutely control and slow down the process. By proactively identifying and caring for brain health starting now, we can live a healthier, more active, and happier life, regardless of age.